This is NBC News Radio. Grocery chain Safeway will pay a $600,000 fine for clean air violations. The retailer has also agreed to a nationwide reduction of greenhouse gas emissions from refrigeration equipment at its 659 U.S. stores.
Cold, baby.
The EPA and Justice Department say the settlement is the largest ozone protection case ever reached under the Clean Air Act. A fight at a Houston area high school has left one student dead and 3 others injured. School district officials have canceled classes at the school for the rest of the week.
Good.
Jack Nicholson says it is just not true.
What?
NBC's Brian Williams reports that's the response to an anonymous report out of Hollywood that the actor is retiring due to memory loss.
We received an adamant denial from Nicholson through a spokesman who said the 76-year-old actor is very much still in the game, is suffering no memory loss or dementia, and in fact is reading scripts for future film projects.
I'm Barbara Cusack, NBC News Radio.
Thank you. And Beyond Twisted right here, right now. Let's see. The nut job Ariel Castro hung himself today and yesterday in jail. And the two guys on previous to us, the two right-wing nut jobs, also hung themselves as well on the air. Good. Okay. EI. Hello, girls. Oh, it's happening again, Judy and Lori. It's happening again. We got Beyond Twisted everywhere. I got closed off on PayPal today. Just at the right moment when I was talking to PayPal. I was also closed off on MasterCard today. Does it get any more twisted than this?
Not when you pay your bills all the time.
Who else is going to close off on me? The meat's going to close off on me. Lori, is it unbelievable or what?
It's almost so unbelievable that I expect it.
You expect it. Is that
look forward to it every day, right?
Is that are you
pretty much?
Are you
battle every day?
Are you expecting it because of what I told you today on email?
Yes and no. It seems to be the norm. Bad customer service, a lot of problems.
Yeah, I mean it's just. What you said to me on email. Well, with PayPal, the money takes a little bit to settle into the account. That would be only true if I wasn't making a play at PayPal to find out where the money was, and then suddenly it appeared in my account. So what's more Beyond Twisted, the whole customer service part here, Lori, or the fact that this keeps happening around me every single day, every single minute?
You're like a magnet. You're a magnet for trouble.
Magnet! Can't take it. Judy, I can't take it.
Well, didn't it also say that you didn't have an account or something?
It said the PayPal said I did not have an account, didn't have a username, there was no money being transferred into it, and nothing existed. And then suddenly, Beyond Twisted, Cedric, it happened. It appeared in my account within 20 seconds after I tried to get them on the phone.
Everything was wonderful.
Yes. And then it turned up there. And what's the possibility? Come on, people, in the studio, your own twisted story, 727-441-3000. Again, 727-441-3000. And the text line is open for you at 609-209-0194. I'm not opening up the laptop Yahoo Instant Chat until you people tell me, call in here or text me and tell me you want to also talk on Instant Chat. Then we'll open it up and not before. No, I will not give up my laptop. No. Hey, Lori, who's on your mind right now as far as Beyond Twisted and Psycho Sicko?
Oh, there's so many. Right now, I'd have to say one of the major phone companies, whose name shall remain, anonymous, just for basically screwing me out of money for 3.5 months now, and I, sent them a letter stating that it was death by incompetence because I deal with so many idiots, and everybody gives you a different story. For a major corporation, how come they just can't do a simple thing?
Now, you're talking about your cell phone company, or you're talking about your regular landline company?
My regular landline company.
The regular landline company, okay.
Yep.
Let's see, landline company.
And it wouldn't be so bad, but 8 years ago when I moved here, they did almost the same thing, more than 90 days to get back my money. In my case, I still don't have my money back, yet if I were 1 day late, I guarantee you they would hit it up with my credit report.
Now, you're saying your landline company, how long you been with them for?
Oh, a long time.
What's a long time? How many months? How many years?
Probably 8 years.
And now they're doing something with you. You've been a constant customer. You've paid your bills every month after month.
Yes, I pay everything early.
Now, isn't it, Judy? Isn't this interesting? I've been with MasterCard for 31 years, and now they cut off my account because I'm paying on time every month, and she just gets hit from. I would assume Verizon, Judy. I mean, Lori.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Judy, what are we looking at?
What else is there?
What are we looking at here?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't understand how that even touches the problem that's happening out there. I mean, how is cutting off good customers helping them get money from their bad customers? I don't get it.
Now,
Am I missing something?
Lori, what are we missing here?
It's not. It's some of these corporations are so huge, and they hire so many employees at such low pay. And what actually kind of freaked me out was with the phone company, a lot of them, the local offices are not open on weekends. And I don't remember, I remember it used to be 24 hours a day. You could call in, I believe, and get help. Now, if you have a problem on the weekend, you're stuck.
Yeah, and that seemed to be the big service providership twist of fate in this country. I would think under George Bush and Obama that a lot of companies, including national companies, were open, became open on Saturday and Sunday. Now they seem to be open, but they're cutting back on the customer service reps. They're calling it being open, and then they redirect you to the websites. And that's twisted psychology.
Oh, that's even more annoying.
Come on.
Yeah, right. That's absolutely right. They redirect you to the website because they don't want to talk to a human being.
Yes, I realize that. What were you, 2 million human beings in South Florida alone with Verizon? Is it something like that, Judy?
That's probably something like that.
God, it's just getting me nuts. I just got cut off by MasterCard today. I've been with MasterCard for 31 years. MasterCard, I've been with you for 31 years. I pay my minimum bill every single month. You increase my credit line, my cash reserves. Now you cut me off because the rest of the people are in debt and you don't want to carry me anymore. Lori, I'm going to kill myself with a can here.
Well, I think you have to. I'm not sure why they cut you off. I mean, there could be a number of factors, but one that I find specifically interesting is a lot of times, not so much they'll cut you off, but they'll drop your limit if you suddenly pay off your bill.
Yeah, which I haven't done. I'm not doing. I'm doing the minimum payment. One of the phone reps in the last 2 days told me, well, you're the only one who's really paying. If you can believe that, we don't really have a couple of hundred guys that are paying. You're really the only one who's paying. So now you have to pay for the fact that they're not paying. We raised your interest rate already, which is illegal, but we did it. And you kept paying. So now we're going to cut off your line of cash reserve. We're going to cut off the benefits, and we're going to cut off your account. We're just going to leave you limbo, hanging.
Well, I'm not sure why they. As long as they notify you, they can raise your interest rate because that a lot of times is based upon one of the things it's based upon is your credit score. So I'm not sure.
Which is a joke too.
Yeah, because my credit score was supposed to be hit a little bit, but wasn't supposed to be hit 300 points here in the last 6 years, and has been. Judy's credit score got hit because they turned her into a ghost from the Federal Reserve. So this is a bunch of psycho misfits that are running this company and major other companies around the world. That's why we're doing this show. It's called Beyond Twisted. Telephone number in the studio, 727-441-3000. We're taking you to a new level right now. We're giving you guys the benefit of the doubt, running these companies, but we're also calling you psycho misfits. And you could challenge me and call me up if you work for one of these companies or you know somebody who does, and you want to challenge it and show how more human being they are and that they're really not doing this to us intentionally or maybe dysfunctionally. That's fine. Call up. Lend some light to this, because I am totally disgusted. I mean, I can't buy no more stamps to put on these envelopes if you cut off my bill paying. Hey, Lori, you want to open up a stamp store with me?
Oh, sure.
She does. She just jumped right
that
into
would be
it.
like there's a company. Did you ever hear of Stamps.com?
Yes.
they send out everybody out in the world a free CD. Now, I read pretty much everything. And I had signed up a few months ago, and they required that you give a credit card. So nowhere in there did I see anything that said there was a monthly charge. Of course, I assumed that they would charge a little bit more because if I could be at home and get the exact postage, in the end, I would end up saving money. That was pretty much my perception of reading it. Well, I never ended up using it because I couldn't get the disc loaded properly, and truthfully, I really didn't have time to pursue it. So I didn't think anything of it. And then I read my credit card bills, and what's on that credit card bill? But a $15.99 charge for using this particular service. And at that point, I kind of went a little nuts, and I called up my credit card company, who I've had for 14 years. And I told them what happened, and they said, well, you need to call the merchant first. We have an agreement with them on issues like this, and they should remove the charge. And if not, call us back. So I went ahead and I called their number, and I spoke to someone very pleasant. But basically, I explained that I had never used their service, I couldn't get the disc loaded, and I wanted them to remove the charge. And that the MasterCard company, the bank, had said, call them and explain the situation, and they should remove it. And the lady told me, no, we're not going to do that. And I thought, okay. I've had my Platinum MasterCard for 14 years, so I called back to the bank. I shouldn't have to go through all this.
Of course not.
And I explained it again to the next representative, and they took it off my charge.
They did.
So why should I? Yeah, they did take it off because I've had that charge card for 14 years, and I use it to pay a lot of expenses, although I pretty much pay it down every month. But if I hadn't reviewed my statement, I would have been getting that $15.99 charge every month. So it's almost like a bait and switch because they don't make it obvious.
It's almost like a bait and switch. It is a bait and switch. Yeah. You had to go through 3 people right there. That probably took about, what, an hour and a half, 2 hours of your time?
Nah, I'm pretty quick. It probably took me about half an hour in conversations and realizing what had happened to get it solved, because you also have to write a letter typically to protect yourself to the charge card company explaining the circumstances. And then they have up to 60 days. But I expect that, as per their phone call, that they will be taking it off. But you got to read those charge card statements. One of the things I discussed is I don't do any type of auto debits. Gymnasiums, for example, a lot of times, you sign up and you go in and say, I'm canceling, and they continue to bill you. And I believe the credit card companies only allow 60 days. If you catch it after 60 days, you're going to be liable for those payments previously. So you have to really read the statements.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling what we have to do to keep on top of this. It's 13 minutes past 11 o'clock p.m. East Coast time here in the United States. We gather no information to apply the war powers to anybody. I don't know where that just came from. It just, like a spirit just took over me right there. It's Beyond Twisted here. Beyond Twisted, we're here every Wednesday night, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight. Telephone number, you want to challenge us on this of what we've just said so far, or you want to lend some emotional and technical support, telephone number inside the studio, 727-441-3000. And, all right, man, what's my text line phone number right there? It's the bottom number.
You can text us at 609-209-0194.
Right. And, Lori, I never thought I'd get to this point. I usually like to keep the more local people off of my criminal and civil juxtaposition mind, and I don't really bring them up. But this I've known Judy for 12 years, and I've told her stories about different various males and females that I've run into locally, and it didn't work out, mainly because they were insane. They wanted to try to challenge themselves and me too much, but this was completely off the Richter scale for Judy. Her jaw hit the floor. I was looking for a voice therapist in all of the South Florida area, and came upon one, and I had a live conversation with her over the phone. People, over the phone. It wasn't texting. It wasn't emailing. It was over the phone, where we're supposed to still be human beings to each other.
Right.
Yes, thank you, Mr. DeMille. And this exchange was looking pretty good. All the information was exchanged between each other over the phone. Judy was privy to the conversation. She heard it live in the background as I was talking to this woman. And the conclusion of the idea was that she was possibly going to see me in person to take a look at different dysfunctions inside my vocal cord area. And all I had to do was provide her with some kind of proof that it actually was taking place. So I gathered the proof together, and the second part of the proof was that Judy was inside the appointment of the ENT doctor who scoped down my throat and saw the affected area. So Judy, as trustful as anybody could possibly be in this world, was there to back me up too. So we included that in the email to her, and I ran off all the technical indications to this professional, so-called professional person, a voice therapy person. And I included my picture too, so she could see my stance of how I stand up and how that might affect my vocalization. And she turned on me like I cannot believe this. Go ahead.
Well, you made it very clear when you sent the picture that that was the way that you stand, the way that you probably would position your head most of the time when you're speaking. So if she thought that that had anything to do with it, she could make some kind of evaluation before you got there.
Correct.
You made that very, very clear to her.
Right. I made no sexual innuendo to her. I made no notation of making a pass to her whatsoever. I'm keeping her email address out of this because I don't want to get into the different levels of harassment, but her name is Christine Wilson. I gave her every single chance in the world to turn around on this and to apologize for this and to maybe think that give her a chance to reflect on this. So I didn't have to put her into the category of ultra psycho, which is where she is right now. I mean, this category I got to put her in is like beyond the Call of Duty of ultra psycho. And that's where I'm putting her now. And I gave her every chance in the world to come back and say, listen, I thought I was talking to somebody else, or I was having a very bad day, and I'm sorry I turned on you like this. She turned on me so bad that she did something that nobody has ever done in the history of me dealing with male and females locally. She actually took my picture, and she's confessing to this on email. She's giving it to the security staff in her condo complex, and she's giving them the emails that I wrote and convincing them that I'm a danger to society and physical danger to her, so that they have my picture, and so that if I come around, they can warn her or call up the police.
Correct. I thought that was at her workplace.
Yes, I think so. I think it's also at her home.
Okay.
She's throwing this into the security issue.
At any rate.
Yeah.
She alerted security to make sure you didn't come near the building.
I have never had this taken to this level. I've had people say, I'm calling up police and saying a couple of your words are harassing. I don't want you to ever call me up. Now, you know what? I get this odd, weird feeling that because she knows I host a TV and radio show, and we all do, she might be in the back of her mind doing a double bait and twist switch here. She may be playing around with this in her mind of providing us with marketing. Yeah, you're laughing. I'm dealing with this for 13 years. You're laughing. Go ahead. Tell me what's in your head. Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Me? I don't know what transpired. I think Judy would have a better response for that.
Actually, that's all that transpired. He sent her medical records or a note from the previous therapist that he had seen. Actually, she was an ENT doctor, and she had scoped his throat. We had gone to several sessions to work on the abnormality, I guess you would call it.
Yes.
And I was there each time. I know exactly what she said, and we had it in written form, which he sent to this woman, and there was nothing out of the way that should have prompted her to do such a crazy thing.
Yeah, and Lori, we're looking at this and we're saying, either she wants me to follow her around at that point and she wants to escalate this further because she wants a song and a dance going on in her life, or she's using it in her professional life to garner more support for her own professional credits and clients to come around. See, this is indicative to me of the sad situation in this country of male and females having such a tough time of coinciding and living together socially and business-wise. And another reason why the divorce rate's been so high for the past 31 years, close to 51 to 76%.
Well, what she actually said to you was that your email was spooky.
Spooky. Lori, she called it creepy.
Oh, that was
my email. And
the email was creepy. That's what it was.
Right. Now, I've had other females say similar things to me, and you've looked over all my things. I don't come close to creepy. I think I should have.
But you like to talk. You like to talk on email.
Right. But I don't consider myself to be on the creepy level. But when my picture is suddenly being passed around, then it's getting to a new level. Either it's a joke inside of her head, and this is the way she's expressing a joke, which is scary as hell to me, because you got me as Mr. Stalker and Mr. Creepy here, or this is really creepy inside of her head, and she's got a new level going on. Now, if you're me, Lori, if you're the male, would you have suggested something else going on in her life, or would you have just kept it between yourself, you being me, and her?
Well, if she's a doctor, I would think that you're just keeping it between yourself, especially if you're the patient.
Okay.
Correct. If she's a doctor, then there's some type of privilege there. I would think it would be, a professional relationship. If you're the patient.
She's got I think she has a PhD, but I don't know if that's substantial, if that's even actually real. She is a licensed voice therapist. In some states in the union, as you know, Lori, New York City, you don't even have to be you don't have to have a PhD or a master's degree. You just have to have certain training in your college years to call yourself a voice therapist. And in other states, you have to be licensed, you have to be mastered, you have to be everything else. So, in your mind, is she possibly thinking of herself as a doctor and that her patients are in harm because I sent her my picture? Is that what you're possibly thinking she's thinking?
It could be. It could be that. It could be was the email neutral? Because remember, the one reason I don't always like emails, especially I'm a lousy typist, but I'm very short and to the point, but you can't always read tone into an email. So if it's not neutrally toned, the person on the other end may misunderstand it and assume it for something else because there was no phone conversation.
Yeah, well, there was a previous phone conversation with this, and then she requested that I follow up with the email that showed either medical records or a statement from somebody acknowledging my situation and circumstance inside my throat area, which I did do, but then she turned on it like crazy. I'm thinking that maybe what might have happened here is we're getting. I mean, it's beyond twisted here. I'm saying she's a psycho. She's either a dysfunctional psycho. She doesn't know what she's doing. She doesn't know what she created here, or she's intentionally doing this to get some kind of rise out of somebody. I'm thinking it's possible that she's thinking that it's going to be too much work between me and her to do this type of voice therapy. And this is the bait and switch way of saying it to me that she doesn't want me in her therapy sessions to do the work by picking on something else here.
Pretty radical, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is dumb. Go ahead.
But people do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking about psychopaths and sociopaths. Sociopaths seem, I don't want to say they're totally unaware of what they're doing, but they're more narcissistic. It's all about them. Psychopaths, I think it's the same kind of thing, but they tend to gravitate more towards evil. The serial killers, they're predatory. Mm-hmm. I would love to have a psychologist call in or some type of licensed clinical social worker call in, to talk about that. What makes people think the way that they do, because everybody thinks differently, and what one person considers normal, another person might not consider normal. And also keep in mind that people who are usually therapists or, my understanding, therapists or psychologists or psychiatrists are usually that type of doctor because something happened in their life personally where their goal is to be able to help other people, but it doesn't mean they don't have their own issues. They do too.
Yes, and it might come down to the other part here too, which maybe you two can explain here, Lori and Judy. When we talk about narcissistic and getting into those levels of the one, the center, the being, and it gets into psychoism and twisted beyond twisted too. With women, from your own experiences with women that you know, when they get into these levels, are they trying to get over a guilt pattern to the point because the womb situation inside the body of a woman, and there's a center of God to that, or godliness of love to that, and then maybe there's a conflict going on with a woman like this that's feeling that after she's had a trigger process between me and her. What do you two think? Deep.
Wow.
He lost me back there somewhere.
That's why we're beyond twisted here, people. Okay, think, people, think.
That's too complicated.
Too complicated?
Yeah.
Hey, Lori, too complicated?
That's a really, really hard question. Can you rephrase it shorter?
With men, when we get into the narcissistic feeling, it's more or less like this. They can see me on video right now. We stand around each other like this. Yeah. That's.
You mean because men are the alpha males?
Yeah, it's because we get into that prototype of leader in front. The appearance and the stance of the body becomes more direct. I think with females, they generally don't take on that kind of a stance, so it becomes redirected and indirected inside with that narcissistic level that you just talked about here, Lori, getting to that psycho level of being within the one of God or being of God itself. And maybe, in this case, maybe that's where she took this.
I don't think it has anything to do with God.
No?
It has to do with the way they see the male in the first place. You don't have any idea what her perspective is.
Yeah, I never met her before in my life.
Right, or what she's been through or anything else. Because I really can see sometimes, and I agree with you, Lori, that in an email or a letter or so forth, things can be misconstrued very, very easily. But I read and reread this email to her, and I still cannot come up with any reason she could come up with that kind of a comment or jump to those kind of conclusions.
Well, even if she can, work it out with me. Say you're not comfortable over here, you want me to change it, tone it up, tone it down. I'm coming to you because I'm thinking that you're the one person who could get through with me in the emotional and the physical side of this situation I have with my vocal cord area. The other part that we men don't understand about when women do this is that if there is a narcissistic level here where she gets to the point where she thinks she's talking with God and being with God, and God is telling her, don't be with him, don't do the therapy, he has to go to a different person, or that she thinks she's that powerful, why wouldn't she take me on and be in control of the whole situation? Lori?
Because everybody doesn't think with the power that you do, or that I do, or that Judy does. Everybody has their own inner power, but it doesn't mean your circle and her circle may not interlock. Whereas, say, with Judy, your circles, they overlap. Not everybody's circle overlaps everybody else's circle. So there could have been something in the email that just was a trigger for her in some respect that you don't know about, and may not even have anything to do with you, but it was a trigger for her, and she said, I got to get out of this.
All right. True. Now, when you, Lori, start to get to your levels that you know or you don't know are happening in your head of the narcissistic levels which are available in all of us as human beings, what do you tend to do action-wise and non-action-wise, or vocally or non-vocally with people?
Well, I try, I was brought up in a non-religious household, so my mother's rule, or my parents' rule, was the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. So I was very shy and quiet growing up, believe it or not, and it took me a long time to overcome certain issues I had. But doing so and kind of, knocking my head against the wall a number of times and figuring it out and reading books on psychology as to how I could deal with my own issues kind of helped me grow up and become more mature and hopefully try to make wiser decisions as I've gotten older. I think a lot of people, though, don't get to that level, and they don't evaluate, they don't do self-analysis. They don't try to figure out why their behavior is the way it is. So if I see that, if I evaluate my behavior, or if someone says to me, ooh, that what you just did wasn't right, or it hurt me, I don't want to hurt anybody. So I would apologize because I would be wrong.
You would step back for the instant. You would step back for the instant and take a look at what they're saying and try to see it clearly. You wouldn't apologize within a second. You would step back, right?
I would step back because I would feel like something's not right.
Right.
But people who have, who are emotionally disturbed in some respect, they don't know how to step back. They only know they're stuck in their rut. They're stuck in their groove, and they don't realize necessarily what they're doing. And it could be subconscious that they're doing it without realizing it.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people, that do that. I've been reading on sociopaths and psychopaths because I find that mindset fascinating, that how come we all don't think the same? And that will lead you back to, is it genetic? Is it hereditary? Is it the way you were brought up? Which I'm sure has a major role in why people act the way they do.
Yeah, and I think maybe what came into this, too, between her and I was verbally saying to her, I would like you to take control of this situation and have fun with it and to explore it to see where the technicality within my vocal cord area can be brought through again and have it on a consistent basis. So I'm thinking that maybe it's possible that I offered her too much control and she found that uncontrolling in that weird sort of psycho level, and she backed off on it at that point.
Well, most people wouldn't have offered to do that.
Yeah, I know.
They would have waited for her. So, but you have a fairly powerful presence as a person, in person and on the phone. And remember, a lot of people can be intimidated by that.
I know. I just want to shut the and
you have to step back. And realize how many people in this country.
Yeah.
Have some kind of mental or mood disorder. I just came up with a number here, approximately 20.9 million American adults, or about 9.5% of the United States population, age 18 and older in a given year, have a mood disorder.
And the mood disorders, by the way, we're doing a movie on this now. The mood disorders usually look like now between 3 seconds to 22 seconds, which is incredible to watch us all spin around like little pinball machines to each other and do these crazy mood decisions.
Well, you have to think about all the pressure that goes on in the world. Everybody's pressured over money. Mm-hmm. Everybody's pressured over going to work. Everybody's pressured for survival. Unless you're really wealthy, and those people have problems too, there's always some type of pressure. How do you deal with that pressure? Are you going to blow up, or are you going to keep it inside and implode? Which one are you? What are you going to do? How are you going to make it work?
Right.
And there are a lot of people I know that are more positive. I've had people tell me I'm positive. I think I'm kind of neutral. I can have my bad moments and my good moments, but there are some people I truly admire because they seem centered within themselves, and they're able to deal with pressure and let it flow and say, well, whatever happens, happens. And if you're religious, you'll say, well, I'll give it to God. And in a way, that's kind of a good mindset. but you still have to have some control. You can't just let things happen to you. You can try to take control, but when you're dealing with other people, what are they doing? Are they trying to take control? You know, how does it all mix together? So the amount of pressure in society kind of plays into why everybody's going crazy. And I know Judy just read off those numbers. I'm going to guess it's probably higher because everybody has something.
2 to 3 times higher.
I've just read another statistic. It says the leading cause of disability in the United States for ages 15 to 44 is major depressive disorder.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing number, extraordinary number. And then we get all these pills that are being advertised on TV now, and they have 8 to 15 side effects. And then we have this number coming out, which is crazy. Now, people, what I did with this woman, I had one of my staff members email her back. We tried to placate this at the same time because we didn't want my name chopped up badly in South Florida or around the country under an effect that makes me look like a stalking maniac. So we told her, since she went to a certain security patrol with my name and with my picture, that we went to one of our close ties to the FBI locally to have her put on a list to be watched a little bit. She's got me being watched. We have her being watched. We are not going any further with that. We are not calling in the civil and criminal defense attorneys or anything. If she decides to come back to me and start harassment charges or restraining order, which is going to be very difficult to do because obviously I'm nowhere near her, and we already said goodbye. If she starts that with me, I'm going to be starting back. My staff is going to do it with her. So this should be a lesson for the both of us. But to begin with the lesson, my God, I can't get a marketing company in this country in 32 years to do this much type of marketing for me. And she's passing around my picture here nefariously, which shouldn't be taking place. It is 24 minutes before the hour, 12 midnight East Coast time. This wonderful, lovely show is being sponsored by this girl on co-hosting with us right now. Keep saying it. You're the only non-criminal. I talk to 2 to 12 people a day, Lori, and all the evidence is right there. They're all criminals. You're the only one who's not a criminal in the credit consultation field. Take a bow. Get up and take a bow towards your microphone and everything else. And she's available at LoriZook@gmail.com. LauriZook@gmail.com. Now, the other people who we're talking about right now, do I have this correct when I say the Global Empire Attitude Radio, or do I have that wrong?
You're correct.
I am correct?
Yep.
I'm shocked I'm correct. Anyway, Google the guy on Google and AOL, Global Empire Attitude Radio. We're in conjunction with him right now. We do a radio show tomorrow on his Global Empire Attitude Radio. JT is the man there. Tune us in at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. East Coast time. We are also in conjunction with the Tampa Picture Show.
You still can't say picture, can you?
Picture.
The Tampa Picture Show, PITCHER,
Picture Show
on Dale Mabry.
Picture.
Yes.
Picture.
We're there on Mondays and Tuesday evenings. Sometimes we play oldies, and we're also having auditions for an upcoming movie that we're planning to put together.
Which we're calling the Ponzi Circus. So we are looking for males and females 18 years of age and older to email us at frankfamousmedia@yahoo.com. We will talk to you about auditioning or just talking over the phone or in person. That could be your audition. And we'll get you into this thing. You could be behind the scenes. You could be an actor, an actress. We're also looking for writers and directors.
We need screenwriter. We need
funding too.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
camera people, all kinds of, like Frank says, behind the scenes people to put this thing together. It's going to take a while, but with some cooperation, we can get it done.
We can get it done. And I said Tampa Picture Show. Do I have it right?
The Tampa Picture Show. You have it right.
Yes.
Yes.
See, I just happen to be looking at the second syllable, and it's picture this. Picture this. She's the only non-criminal in the country. I'm still stunned by this. We're going to put you in for Nobel Peace Prize. Is that okay with you?
Well, thank you. That's fine with me. Thank you.
Okay. Soap,
just
baby.
Try to help people.
I know that. Soap, baby. Now, Judy was using this soap the other day, and you were using it to
shave my legs.
Shave your legs. Yeah. Which leg did you use it on?
Well, it's
Let's get the microphone down to the
them.
leg.
Both of them.
You've never seen a microphone go to a leg, Cedric? Did you ever see a microphone go to a leg with a soap called Buzzy's Essential Soap? Have you ever seen it?
I guess not.
Really?
Well, not until today.
You're restricted in your childhood.
Yes.
Yes, we know that. He needs a UFO in his life. As soon as we get a little seat on there with a female cohort to have you.
Buzzy soap is great as to shave with,
Yes.
so you don't have to use shaving cream.
How did you
Be
feel when
great
you
for
put
your
the-
face.
Oh yes, everything would be great. And did you put? What did you do with it? Did you just glide it on your leg?
No, you moisten it and,
Yes.
and lather it on just like you would if you were going to shave with any other kind of soap.
Yeah, but it felt
is
better,
so
right?
pure that
Yes.
it leaves your skin soft,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have to use lotion or anything. And supposedly from what I've read and the comments that I've read online,
Mm-hmm.
it cures psoriasis and a lot of other skin problems.
Itchiness. Goes
So
after
it's
itchiness.
well worth looking into.
Yes, Buzzy's Essentials. His email address is BUZZYSESSENTIALS@MSN.com. Lori, off the top of your head, any other psychopaths or psychosickos that are roaming through your head right now that you want to talk about indirectly or directly?
I can think of one, and I won't reveal a name, but I can think of someone that I used to know that basically was very predatory, came off as very, suave and charming, very convincing, very persuasive to get people to give up their money to him in business transactions where he would take advantage of them. And he's still out there doing the same thing.
What field?
It was in real estate transactions.
Was he doing it online mostly or in person or both?
Both.
Both. What year?
I'm going to say 2006. Yeah, 2006, 2007, 2008, around there.
How old was he when he started?
I'm going to say probably in his 20s.
20s, young adult. Was there any local intervention on that, sheriff, private detective, something?
I know that he did go to a federal prison for a couple of years and was able to get relicensed back in the state of Florida.
Wow. And what was,
for the same thing.
What was the total amount that you know of to this date?
I don't know. I know. I believe it was several $100,000.
Several hundred thousand.
Yeah, it included racketeering, fraud, equity stripping, things like that.
How tall is this person?
Probably about 5'8", 5'9".
Okay, so all 7.2 million of you out there, and 6,000 at certain quarter hours. 7'2" to 7'9", you said?
No. Height. You're talking height. About 5'9", 5'8", 5'9".
Okay, if you guys are running into any real estate agents, male, 5'8", 5'9", color hair, Lori?
Shaved head.
Shaved head. It's like a David Lynch.
Is he still in the business, Lori?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
And
I think I read about him in the paper.
You did?
Maybe he actually changed his name.
Really?
He actually changed his name. I think probably because somehow somebody found out and started pursuing him. But I think the scariest part for me is if you have some type of fiduciary responsibility to your clients, it would be the same as a banker who robbed their own bank or robbed people, and then the state gave him back a license.
Now,
to do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
or a doctor who did malpractice, and then they give you back a license in the same state.
Correct. Bad, Leroy Brown. Now, Are you saying now? You've thought about this for a little while. Is he within the dysfunctional psychopath where he really doesn't know what he's doing most of the time? His brain closes down, or is he in his intentional control stages, or a combination of the both?
No, I'm going to say he clearly knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he finds justification in his mind to do it.
Where does his justification branch out to? What's his goal besides talking to people in this kind of high intense negative level? What's his goal?
Well, see, that's hard. People who are sociopaths and psychopaths, they don't really have any empathy. They don't have feeling. It's kind of like if you've ever seen the show Dexter, they don't. Although Dexter seems to have a little bit of feeling, I don't think true sociopaths and psychopaths actually have any feeling other than it's all about themselves. It's all about me. I'm the 5-year-old child. I didn't get enough love, so I'll just pretend that I'm this nice, charming person. And then, but they ultimately in their heads have that goal of what they want.
And when you say that, there's no resolution. I mean, it's just an open minefield going on in this person's head.
Well, it is, and there's really no cure.
Yeah, there is no cure. There's no functional cure either. We got this person. She's just put a foot back into her mouth, mouth back into her mouth, her tongue back into her upper lobe. She's taken her eyeglass. Her name is Angel Bishek. And I said, I'm going to be blasting you all over again. You're doing this for like 17, 18 years, according to the FBI. I touched a nerve with the Florida Department of Agriculture, Consumer Services Commissioner, and they got a hold of her. They went through a different route. I don't know even how they came up with this route, but they did. And they got her to respond to them. And she's still in fantasy land where her mind shuts down. She's also intentional evil land. She's retaken herself to a new height of psychoticism, narcissism, evilism, strokeism. She's so far mind-bogglingly evil, although there's no evidence she's killed anybody. Her name is Angel Bishek. I'm not going to give out the email address because I don't want to go into those other levels of harassment, which really
legalities.
Well, it's not only that. Nothing negative could happen to us anyway. I mean, there's so much proof against her. The FBI in Ohio, who we were in contact with and we had a relationship going with them, they actually said, we think, we feel, we know she never did anything wrong to anybody with anybody. So obviously they're covering her up. Either they're taking payoffs or, as I've said to so many people before, they're getting emotionally high off of watching her doing what they're doing. Or that's not happening. There's so many levels of power within the government and outside the government, private industry, that is recognizing and stroking through the FBI to take their hands off of her. So she is once again, she actually responded. Now, you were choked to shock, right?
I was very surprised that she responded.
Right. And if you think she would respond to anybody, you think it would be to the Department of Consumer Affairs, local FBI. No, she responds to the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Commissioner, who does more of a mediation effect, not really a verbal attempt to get her to do restitution. So we're looking at this and we're going, my God, she actually responded. And to this department, which would be the most unlikely department. So she's actually feeling either a little heat and a little pressure, and she's figuring, it's still 3 or 4 years going on here, and they're still approaching everybody in the world. Maybe Frank's going to keep going after me for the rest of my life. Correct. I'm not stopping until I win the lottery.
Well,
Go ahead.
Frank, is she making restitution? Did she need to make restitution to you personally for something?
She needs to make restitution to Judy, to me, to the family of the person who was involved as the first direct but second direct party as well. She needs to make restitution to 1 billion other people too. She's trying. She has convinced herself that the 2 pieces of documentation that she did produce for the money that we gave her, she thinks that's all that should have been done. And obviously the reason why we came to her to begin with was you could do the business plan and give it to us, and you could put together your little rinky-dink website. But the overall goal here, of course, is to land the money through a private investor or through an equities position where you bet on gold or silver or something. And she was supposed to take 90 days to do it and come up with $100 million, which she didn't come up with.
Well, the bottom line is that she set up a fake company that really did nothing. And she put the locations of this company on the internet, where she supposedly had offices in, I don't know, 3 or 4 places in the United States, including Florida, and an office in Singapore,
Chicago, and Cleveland.
And the office in Florida, we traveled over there to see if it was really true, and she had never had an office there.
Actually, we didn't just go over there to see if it was true. We were prepared to do a civil and, civil criminal arrest.
Yes, but we did want to know that whether or not she was really there,
right?
But she never was,
right?
And none of her people that were supposedly in the company had been there either.
Exactly.
She set up a fake company name in California, where the money was wired to her. And she was supposed to produce a private placement memorandum and also a website, and then, of course, come up with the money within 90 days to fund a project, a humanitarian project.
Which would have saved most of the world by this point.
Right.
So she's on the hook for destroying the world here, too.
So, I mean, it was fraud and a scam all the way. And of course, she tried this on a lot of other people, too, and there was only one other person that we know of who actually sued her in civil court.
Well,
he won, but he never went after the money.
Well, he told me why.
Well, there may not be any. You can sue them civilly for the money, but if there's no money, all you're going to get is a judgment. Unless she's working, in which case they may be able to garnish the wages.
Yeah, well, I get back to my other supporting technical claim, and I've already proven this. These people are doing this so often, they're not doing anything else productive, so they don't have time. It's like Elvis Presley, never had the time to outspend his money. So there is money hanging around. It's probably in the walls of some houses they've lived in. The money could be under somebody else's name. The money could be under a baseball field, under first base. The money is available. The point of this is the local law enforcement agents in all the counties wherever these people are, like Angel and where Chris McCormick is, they don't want to go through the bother of which they used to do back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s of going through some houses, some backyards, to see where a couple of dollars is hidden or a couple of $100,000 is. They just don't want to do it. They've already told me, we don't want to do this anymore. We like to just sit around and watch television.
We had a conversation with a lawyer this past Saturday. And he said that he was ashamed to call himself a lawyer now. In fact, he's into another kind of business where he helps people like you, Laurie, with mortgages, get out of their predicaments they're in with their houses that are underwater and so forth. But he said that the lawyers now are afraid to act, so you can't get anybody to go after these people.
Right. Now, let me back you up on 1 second because we only have 7 minutes back here. This was, Laurie, there's a cliche and a new age thing going on here all at once. And I think this is what this all comes down to. The person has money somewhere. I can't find it because I can't electronically find it. The law enforcement agents don't want to go look for it underneath the couch, dug in a hole somewhere. It also comes down to this. I just recently, as I told the audience, got my money back, or I didn't spend money on a co-payment with the LASIK Center in Sun City Center. The only reason they backed off, and this would be the same thing in this case too, is because I live close. And they couldn't take the emotional heat of me passing around flyers, talking to people over at the post office there, going down the street to McDonald's. It's too close. And then the circle of friends during Christmas time and Thanksgiving would be tough. We're looking at each other really bad. That's what it really takes to get these kind of monies back to you, and also so you don't end up spending the money. The reason why this person, Angel Bishek, is getting away with what she's doing is because I don't live close to her. If I lived...
Well, that's right. I agree with that.
Yeah, she's not feeling the emotional heat of this.
If you're doing business with someone where it involves a lot of money, you have to check them out, and hopefully you can do business locally so you know where they are and you can meet in person. If you're doing business with a company that's in another state, you're basically out of luck. Well, you're going to have to hire an attorney to sue them civilly. That's if they can find the person. If they can find the person has any money. Is that person, if they're doing this kind of thing, they're probably not working a job that's on the books, which then, of course, you wouldn't be able to garnish wages, and that makes it even more difficult. But remember, that's what people with criminal minds do. They look for people to target, and especially in Florida, they look for people who are senior citizens to target.
Yes. And it never seems to end too. Now, somebody just hit me with a instant chat here on my cell phone that said, try to convince her in some way that you actually live near her neighborhood or in her neighborhood. Maybe then if she heard that technical information, she would then feel the heat of knowing that you're within the neighborhood to talk to enough people.
But she already knows you're not.
Yeah, but maybe if I end up moving near her, but then I got.
Well, you know what you could do. I'll give you a solution to that problem.
Go ahead.
If there's a website called 5rr.com. People do things for $5.
Right.
If you go to that website and you can, I think you can type in the name of the city and the state. Mm-hmm. You'll see a list of all the things that people will do. And what a lot of these people do for $5 is they'll put up flyers. They'll put up flyers in that area for $5.
That's true. They'll also maybe go to some events and they'll start passing around my name. Oh, I just had a cup of coffee with him, and maybe that will trigger to somebody else. Usually what gets to these people, too, is they still go to churches. They end up going to church because they want to brainwash everybody into that sublimation of loving of God and everything, or they go there because... Go ahead.
I exactly agree. I was discussing what happened with someone that I knew years ago that was in real estate, and he would get into different religious organizations for a period of a couple of years. He would take everybody on different real estate transactions, take advantage of them, and then he would go change religions. And eventually, his wife at the time divorced him because she lost all of her friends. He had no remorse, and that the FBI calls it an affinity crime. People like this get themselves into a group. They get you to trust them and think they're your friend, and especially in a religious organization because they're preaching about God. But then they do the unthinkable.
Which is?
So they're really evil.
Yes. I got a call from a fake and a real priest in the Chris McCormick case, and he said, you're passing around flyers in the neighborhood, you're mailing it from Florida, and now we're concerned for his children. I said, well, I'm concerned for his children too, so then you got to work with me to placate these children and get these children safe as we are talking to him and you're talking to him too. The priest just wanted to make it seem like it was a total guilt trip on me because I'm looking to retrieve my money off of this because every law enforcement agent in the whole country was lying about this guy's background. I'm not taking on that much guilt. I'm past that. I'm trying to help out those kids, though, and I'll do that somewhere in the future. But I'm not going into this guilt-ridden thing of myself that I'm the bad guy for putting the children at risk now because the name is being passed around like crazy. That's not working with me. But this thing about them being in church and possibly the way of getting word through the church is still with people that are in the neighborhood. For you people who are going through the same kind of crap with other people who owe you money, this may be the way of getting this done. Because remember, I will say this again, it doesn't sound like much at all. I am so close to the LASIK Center here in down in Sun City Center, south of here, that really boggled their mind, knowing that I'd be walking around 3 to 4 blocks around them or within 200 feet, and that people's conversations were going to center around that. That's what made them back off, and that's probably the only way to really get back money from anybody at this point. As crazy, I mean, it's psycho, right? Beyond twisted. This whole thing. Judy's looking at me. She's going, this whole thing. These things are just like...
Like Lori says, it's just too much.
It's unbelievable. It should
every day.
The moral of the story is don't give your money to anyone that you don't know that's not local. And even if they're local, check them out. There, you can buy the private investigator to check people out, or to run a background check on them.
Right, and even that doesn't sustain everybody because everybody's going into mood disorder. I get back into my formula, which is try to get some collateral up front from a person, try to get some cell phones, try to get some cabinets or something that you know you can put on auction right away, and do it, put it on auction, get the money from these people, and then use that as a leveraging attempt to begin to do business back with them. It's still a very tough sell, people. I'm not saying this is an easy sell for anybody to take up. A lot of people are hiding from a lot of people. They don't want to give up their cars or their computers and liquidate it and have you have cash on hand. But I don't know any other way of approaching any of this anymore because I am at my wit's end, even though we're talking to 7.2 million people right now. People, if you know a better way of doing this and you can handle it and you can show us, I'll give up my whole life to you. Contact us after the show right now, 1-800-784-4279. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Frankie. Good night, Frankie. Bye now, Chemo Sabi!
WTAN, Clearwater, Tampa Bay. WDCF, Dade City, Tampa Bay. WZHR, Zephyr Hills, Tampa Bay. Listen.